I'm Tammy Jess, and I am the hospital administrator here at the Pekin Veterinary Clinic and aboard the ARC Pet Boarding. And we have a twofold Morton building. We've built it in two different phases. One was a new construction and one was a rehab or retrofit over our existing building. In order to get a look that we wanted for the building, a very professional look, we decided to use some faux stone on the face of the building, giving us a little bit more interesting texture. We brought in an airlock system for our front entryway. That worked really well twofold for us. One, we're losing less air in the winter and the summer when climates are they're extreme. But also, when you're working with animals and one slips off a leash, you have a double barrier to get that pet. We expanded our reception area double, which gave us the opportunity to create a larger workstation or desk area where we could have a station that was right in the front to greet people when they come in, and then two side workstations where people can check out as they come out of the exam rooms. And we found that that gave us much better flow. The space also provided us a lot more seating area for customers that were coming in. Prior to the renovation, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, it would be standing room only in our lobby. And you know, it was just a real welcome day when we could open up the doors and have people have room to be comfortable and have their pets be separated from one another and not have the potential problems when you don't have that space. We were able to create 2 new exam rooms, which assisted us greatly, again, in the flow of our workload. So at this point, we have 5 exam rooms, all of which open either directly into the reception area or into the hallway that is just off of the reception area. They're all accessible from both sides so that our medical team can view what's going on through the small window in each of the doors on the back sides of the rooms and access the rooms as well. All of the exam rooms are basically set up the same. There's one exam room that has some additional ear equipment in it that we try and route any ear cases into that direction so that we have access to that equipment. Coming out of the exam rooms, you're in our pharmacy. Put in a lot more cabinetry and created a workstation for standing to write up your files and finish up whatever you're doing with your medical records, as well as a place to fill prescriptions. The small room off the pharmacy at one point was a washroom, but since we had this new wonderful full-size handicap washroom, we didn't need 3, so we used that and we turned that space into a media center. Have our copier, we have a terminal for a computer and a desk in there right off of the pharmacy, which is really nice when they're looking up different medical records and things like that. The staff has access to that. Our radiology room is one of the spaces that stayed in its existing form in the old building. And there is a small dark room and a washroom off of the radiology room. We did change to digital radiology about 1.5 years ago, which was really nice. So we added a small workstation in there to accommodate for the monitor, and then put a medical grade monitor in the hallway to be viewed by the doctors as they are consulting with their clients. As you go through the double doors, which there's access on 2 sides of the room and swinging doors to keep pets at bay if they're, again, slipped off their collar, you're going to find our wonderful treatment room that we all love. It's our favorite room in the whole place, with 5 workstations, one of which is our dental station, which is a wet table with the dental radiology and all of the scaling equipment and things that are needed to do our dental workups there. We also have a mobile gurney which will go all the way down to the floor, so if they've got a large animal that they need to move, they can easily get them on and raise and lower it with that, so that's their favorite toy. That is usually used also for pre-surgical prep. So the animals are shaved and intubated and such there, and then they're just wheeled in if they need to be. We have an in-house lab right off of the treatment room We do send out an awful lot of our blood work, but that is also one of the few spaces that are existing as they were prior to the renovation. And our in-house lab work is all run there. We also have a dark room, which is right in the middle of the building, which is also part of the original structure, and that's where we have all of our endoscopy procedures, our ultrasound procedures, and those things that take place where you want the room to be a little bit darker, so then we don't have the problem of daylight coming in. We also have an isolation ward in the original portion of the building, which has 2 large runs and a bank of kennels for the small dogs. We created a shrine for the cubs, which is Dr. Jess's office, and that is also off of the treatment area with a interior window so he can view into the treatment room. If there's any issues or anyone that is struggling with a pet, he's able to see what's going on if he's in his office and be able to assist. The medical library for the staff is housed in his office. We have a pack prep room, which is where all of the surgical equipment is prepared and sterilized, and a pass-through that allows access to the surgery ward from the pack prep room. Our surgery ward has 2 tables and also capability for surgical laser. We do a lot of orthopedic surgery and do a lot of soft tissue surgery as well. We have workstations for all of our doctors. They all have their own station where they can work. We created one common computer station by the doctors' workstations that allow everyone to access a computer. The doctors use it to look things up online, and the staff uses it for making up their invoices, etc. We have a canine and a feline hospital ward that are completely separate. The dog hospital ward is pretty good size. We've got 5 runs in there and a bank of about 20 kennels, smaller units, and then the cat ward has, I believe, 9 or 10 units in it. We also created some office space for the bookkeeper and for myself as administrator that we needed. We also created a room in the boarding facility that was originally our cat boarding room, but we just found that there wasn't that much need for our cat boarding space to have that allocated entirely to cats, so we added grooming, and that has been a wonderful addition. We've been very high in demand for grooming in this area. In the boarding facility, we also have one more space that had been originally a small dog room. And again, we found that most people saw the size of the units and wanted their dog in the larger space. So when Dr. Jess got certified for canine rehabilitation and wanted to add an underwater treadmill and a lot of different pieces of therapy equipment, we allocated that space to that use. And so that is what's housed in there at this point. If they need more space, sometimes they work outside in our exercise yards, or sometimes they work in the treatment room, but all of the therapy things are stored in there, and that's where a lot of the underwater work happens. Off of that room, there are 2 exercise yards outside. We found that when we built the original structure, we didn't put any kind of a covering over it, and the southwestern exposure of the sun on days like today was just too much for our pets to bear. And we ended up doing a canvas awning because that was going to be something that would keep our pets cooler and still be able to not weigh down the structure and be unsightly. So that worked out very, very well. So part of our yards are covered now. Our bathing room has been a multifunction room for the boarding facility. It works as a bathing for the groomers. We do a lot of bathing for in-house animals as well. It's the hub that keeps records of where everyone is, so it's our double check system. We have dry erase boards with records of where everyone's at, all their special needs, what needs to be done when. It is also our bathing area where we keep all of the washer, dryer, and laundry facilities and such. There's a food room beyond that where we keep all of our prescription diets. We do a lot of prescription diets here as part of our protocol for various different issues such as allergies. And so we have to keep quite a bit on hand. So that room is usually quite full. And that also is our access to the outside, is the staff can go through that room. There's lockers there for them to store their coats and their bags and such. So that's their access. The large dog room of the boarding facility can hold approximately 80 plus pets, depending on whether or not there are more than one animal coming from a household. We will board those together if people want them together. We could probably put close to 100 animals in there if we wanted to. Beyond the large dog room is our reception area for the boarding facility, and it is a little bit smaller space. We do have a small room off to the side of the reception area where we have boarding for cats, and they are right there within very close proximity of the reception team, and so they get to have a little more company all the time, so that works out very, very well. There's access from the street to the boarding area where the receptionist is at that point. We were able to get, again, another variance to open up the curb and put street access. There's parking right at the boarding facility for the boarding and grooming drop-off and pickup. When we were in the construction phase, we had a lot of customers that were walking through it and seeing the mess. When they came back, when things were done, they were amazed. They were absolutely complimentary. I think out of all of the different comments that were made, almost everything was very, very positive. The only negatives were, why don't you do it sooner? Why didn't you get this done sooner? It looked amazing. People were amazed to know that it was a Morton building. Some people watched us through this construction as they had to come with their pets various different times, and I think they enjoyed seeing the changes and seeing the final product. We had a nice open house when the whole thing was completely done, and it was very well attended, and people were very, very complimentary of the look and the layout and how it would function. So we were really happy with that. I'm proud of this building. I think it turned out beautiful. It's very functional, and it was not a real difficult thing to build. I have a sense of pride about this, what we put together, what Morton Buildings and we built together. Morton Buildings is a very easy company to work with. I've been very, very pleased with how reliable they have been and how flexible they've been, and I've recommended them to a lot of people. The people that I've worked with directly have been wonderful. And I'd do it again if I had another need. I would do it again. I would go to Morton Buildings and check with them first before I made a move on something else, because I've had a really good experience, and that's it's worth a lot to me.